Well, here we sit at a genuine dinner table summary. You're going to hear things in the background because Julie's making cinnamon rolls for tomorrow. I can't wait. And Simeon is sitting here hanging out with me. So here we are. But we are studying Acts chapter 4, verses 23 through 31. This is a beautiful text. And in short, this is a text about what really it means to say that God is sovereign. Now, Peter and John have just been released from the grand marshals of the law, the great religious leaders, and they've been released, and it says when they were released, they went to their friends and reported what the chief priests and the elders had said to them. That word friends there is more likely, should be translated, and it literally means their own. They went to their own. That's a reference to family, but in this case they translate it friends because it's not necessarily genetic family, but this is family. They are now defined by their relationship to Jesus. So we have them going to their friends, and they turn immediately in prayer to the sovereign God. They don't pray that the burden would be taken away. They pray for boldness to the sovereign King of Kings. Look at what he says. Sovereign Lord, who made heaven and earth and the sea and everything in them. This is establishing what it means to say that God is sovereign. He is in charge of it all. He goes on to quote David in Psalm 2, verses 1 and 2, which is a psalm that kind of goes, it's a messianic psalm, and it's a psalm that goes unquestioned for many years, but it doesn't quite make sense. Why do the nations rage and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves up against God's anointed. Why do they do that? Well, we finally learn why in this prayer. For truly in this city there was gathered together against your holy servant Jesus, whom you anointed, but Herod stood against him, Pontius Pilate did, and the Gentiles did, and the people of Israel did. Why did they do that? Why do the nations rage? Because they did whatever your hand and your plan had predestined them to do. You, God, indeed are sovereign over even the killing of Jesus and over even what's going on in our life. When people raise challenges to Christians today, they're not raising challenges against us. They are challenging Jesus. His persecution is ours, or rather our persecution is about Jesus. It's not about us. Don't make it about you. And this prayer does that very thing. It turns it back over to Jesus. And then he says, give us boldness. Don't take away the persecution. Instead, Lord, give us boldness. Look what he says. Lord, look upon their threats, which is the same threats that were against you, Jesus. Look upon their threats and grant to your servants to continue to speak your word with all boldness, while you stretch out your hand to heal, and signs and wonders are performed through the name of your holy servant, Jesus. This is a beautiful prayer. They're not asking that the burden be removed, but instead that they would be bold in the face of the burden. Is that what characterizes our prayers? Oh Lord, give us boldness to proclaim who you are to the world around us. Notice that the word servants there is a reference to us. We are God's servant. He is sovereign and in charge. We are his servants. The other two times servant comes up in the text. It should be translated son, and that's a reference to David, a son, and Jesus, the Holy Son. And then it finally gets to the disciples and the apostles and the Christians. We are his servants. The servants to the holy God, the sovereign King of Kings. And this is what it means to follow him, is to recognize our place. We are different than who Jesus is. And it's easy to think that we want to be like Jesus. We do want to be like Jesus, but he is the Holy Son. We are the servants of the great and awesome God who loves us. Rejoice, brothers and sisters. We are so loved by a great and awesome God.